You take me for a stoic. What better opportunity may I hope for? Is not the chaise come? Are not you going? Have you even deigned to tell me whither?"
"My journey, my Lord, will now be deferred. Mr. Macartney has brought me intelligence which renders it at present unnecessary."
"Mr. Macartney," said he gravely, "seems to have great influence, yet he is a very young counsellor."
"Is it possible, my Lord, that Mr. Macartney can give you the least uneasiness?"
"My dearest Miss Anville," said he, taking my hand, "I see and I adore the purity of your mind, superior as it is to all little arts and all apprehensions of suspicion, and I should do myself as well as you injustice if I were capable of harbouring the smallest doubts of that goodness which makes you mine for ever. Nevertheless, pardon me if I own myself surprised, nay, alarmed, at these frequent meetings with so young a man as Mr. Macartney."
"My Lord," cried I, eager to clear myself, "Mr. Macartney is my brother."
"Your brother? You amaze me! What strange mystery, then, makes his relationship a secret?"
Just then Mrs. Selwyn opened the door.
"Oh, you are here!" cried she. "Pray, is my Lord so kind as to assist you in preparing for your journey, or in retarding it?" "I should be most happy," said Lord Orville, smiling, "if it were in my power to do the latter."
I then acquainted her with Mr. Macartney's communication. She immediately ordered the chaise away, and then took me into her own room to consider what should be done. A few minutes sufficed to determine her, and she wrote the following note: To Sir John Belmont, Bart. Mrs. Selwyn presents her compliments to Sir John Belmont, and if he is at leisure, will be glad to wait upon him this morning upon business of importance. She then ordered her man to inquire at the pump room for a direction, and went herself to Mrs. Beaumont to apologize for deferring her journey. An answer was presently returned, that Sir John would be glad to see her. She would have had me immediately accompany her to the Hot Wells, but I entreated her to spare me the distress of so abrupt an introduction, and to pave the way for my reception. She consented rather reluctantly, and, attended only by her servant, walked to the Wells. She was not absent 2 hours, yet so miserably did time seem to linger, that I thought 1,000 accidents had happened, and feared she would never return. I passed the whole time in my own room, for I was too much agitated even to converse with Lord Orville. The instant that, from my window, I saw her returning, I flew down stairs, and met her in the garden. We both walked to the arbour. Her looks, in which both disappointment and anger were expressed, presently announced to me the failure of her embassy. Finding that she did not speak, I asked her, in a faltering voice, whether or not I had a father.
"You have not, my dear," said she, abruptly.
"Very well, Madam," said I, with tolerable calmness, "let the chaise then be ordered again. I will go to Berry Hill, and there, I trust, I shall still find one." It was some time ere she could give, or I could hear, the account of her visit, and then she related it in a hasty manner, yet I believe I can recollect every word.
"I found Sir John alone. He received me with the utmost politeness. I did not keep him a moment in suspense as to the purport of my visit; but I had no sooner made it known, than, with a supercilious smile, he said, 'And have you, Madam, been prevailed upon to revive that ridiculous old story?' Ridiculous, I told him, was a term which he would find no one else do him the favour to make use of, in speaking of the horrible actions belonging to the old story he made so light of. Actions, continued I, which would dye still deeper the black annals of Nero or Caligula. He attempted in vain to rally, for I pursued him with all the severity in my power, and ceased not painting the enormity of his crime till I stung him to the quick, and, in a voice of passion and impatience, he said, 'No more, Madam, this is not a subject upon which I need a monitor.' 'Make, then,' cried I, 'the only reparation in your power. Your daughter is now at Clifton. Send for her hither, and in the face of the world proclaim the legitimacy of her birth, and clear the reputation of your injured wife.' 'Madam,' said he, 'you are much mistaken if you suppose I waited for the honour of this visit before I did what little justice now depends upon me, to the memory of that unfortunate woman. Her daughter has been my care from her infancy. I have taken her into my house, she bears my name, and she will be my sole heiress.' For some time this assertion appeared so absurd, that I only laughed at it. but at last he assured me I had myself been imposed upon, for that very woman who attended Lady Belmont in her last illness conveyed the child to him while he was in London, before she was a year old. Unwilling, he added, at that time to confirm the rumour of my being married, I sent the woman with the child to France. As soon as she was old enough, I put her into a convent, where she has been properly educated, and now I have taken her home. I have acknowledged her for my lawful child, and paid at length to the memory of her unhappy mother a tribute of fame, which has made me wish to hide myself hereafter from all the world. This whole story sounded so improbable, that I did not scruple to tell him I discredited every word. He then rung his bell, and inquiring if his hairdresser was come, said he was sorry to leave me, but that if I would favour him with my company to-morrow, he would do himself the honour of introducing Miss Belmont to me, instead of troubling me to introduce her to him. I rose in great indignation, and assuring him I would make his conduct as public as it was infamous, I left the house.
Good Heaven! How strange the recital! How incomprehensible an affair! The Miss Belmont, then, who is actually at Bristol, passes for the daughter of my unhappy mother, passes, in short, for your Evelina. Who she can be, or what this tale can mean, I have not any idea. Mrs. Selwyn soon after left me to my own reflections. Indeed, they were not very pleasant. Quietly as I had borne her relation, the moment I was alone I felt most bitterly both the disgrace and sorrow of a rejection so cruelly inexplicable. I know not how long I might have continued in this situation, had I not been awakened from my melancholy reverie by the voice of Lord Orville.
"May I come in?" cried he, "or shall I interrupt you?"
I was silent, and he seated himself next me.
"I fear," he continued, "Miss Anville will think I persecute her; yet so much as I have to say, and so much as I wish to hear, with so few opportunities for either, she cannot wonder, and I hope she will not be offended, that I seize with such avidity every moment in my power to converse with her. You are grave," added he, taking my hand; "I hope the pleasure it gives me will not be a subject of pain to you. You are silent; something, I am sure, has afflicted you. Would to Heaven I were able to console you! Would to Heaven I were worthy to participate in your sorrows!"
My heart was too full to bear this kindness, and I could only answer by my tears.
"Good Heaven!" cried he, "how you alarm me! My love, my sweet Miss Anville, deny me no longer to be the sharer of your griefs. Tell me, at least, that you have not withdrawn your esteem, that you do not repent the goodness you have shown me, that you still think me the same grateful Orville, whose heart you have deigned to accept."
"Oh, my Lord," cried I, "your generosity overpowers me!"
And I wept like an infant; for now, that all my hopes of being acknowledged seemed finally crushed, I felt the nobleness of his disinterested regard so forcibly, that I could scarce breathe under the weight of gratitude which oppressed me. He seemed greatly shocked, and in terms the most flattering, the most respectfully tender, he at once soothed my distress, and urged me to tell him its cause.
"My Lord," said I, when I was able to speak, "you little know what an outcast you have honoured with your choice; a child of bounty, an orphan from infancy, dependent, even for subsistence, dependent upon the kindness of compassion, rejected by my natural friends, disowned for ever by my nearest relation. Oh, my Lord, so circumstanced, can I deserve the distinction with which you honour me? No, no, I feel the inequality too painfully. You must leave me, my Lord, you must suffer me to return to obscurity, and there, in the bosom of my first, best, my only friend, I will pour forth all the grief of my heart, while you, my Lord, must seek elsewhere." I could not proceed; my whole soul recoiled against the charge I would have given, and my voice refused to utter it. "Never!" cried he, warmly. "My heart is yours, and I swear to you an attachment eternal. You prepare me, indeed, for a tale of horror, and I am almost breathless with expectation; but so firm is my conviction, that, whatever are your misfortunes, to have merited them is not of the number, that I feel myself more strongly, more invincibly devoted to you than ever. Tell me but where I may find this noble friend, whose virtues you have already taught me to reverence, and I will fly to obtain his consent and intercession, that henceforward our fates may be indissolubly united.
and then shall it be the sole study of my life to endeavour to soften your past, and to guard you from future misfortunes."
I had just raised my eyes to answer this most generous of men,